Get your reactions ready. The live portion of the show will begin in just a moment.
Now we also have a marquee pitching matchup. This one's a beauty.
Very good so far. That screens him with a high liner to left field. That will leave the yard. Fly ball the other way off of the bat of Muncy. Kiner for left foot. Running out of room. Goodbye. Ground ball, base hit. How about a sixth spot in the first inning?
High fly ball, deep left. Hayward back, turning, looking. Welcome back, Donaldson. High fly ball, deep left. Going back, Hayward on the track. See ya! A home run for Stanton.
It is game one of a three-game weekend set out west between the Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Joining me tonight for the recap is Pete Simonetti, and we're going to go over Luis Severino, who was making his third start of the season. Our recap, your reactions, coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Welcome back, everybody. Pete, I think you got something on your face there.
Oh, the mustache poppy is back, ready to rock and roll, baby. I tell you what, though, it might have to go if we have another game like tonight, tomorrow.
Bad luck? Are you
Could be bad
superstitious?
luck. I'm scared. I am. You know, the fiance, she keeps telling me, she goes, hey, look, the mustache got to go unless they're not going to win. So she's kind of jinxed it now. So now it's in my mind. It's one of those, she's playing mind games with me, is what's happening.
Welcome to the world of post games where sometimes we're just getting started at 12:42 a.m., the witching hour, even after taking a good hard kick in the hacky sack.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you feel about tonight's game, man?
Oh, God, it was ugly, man. It was ugly. I do got a new nickname for Josh Donaldson, by the way. Shitty
that?
Skunk Mullet. Shitty Skunk Mullet. So I love that one. That's fun. But, you know, I think the loser of today's game is Oswald Peraza.
Oh, man.
I think he's the loser of the game today.
So I want to get to Oswald Peraza. We gotta talk a lot about him because he had a crazy week. Yeah. And, you know, with JD coming up and tearing the cover off the ball, you can close third base as an option now. Yankees never going to get rid of Donaldson now.
No, after this, forget it. He's shown enough right now. That's it.
Yeah. So I'm tired and I'm irritable, but I'm a little happy that Mookie Betts is out of the AL East for now anyway.
You missed seeing him, didn't you?
Oh, man. Look, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We got Severino getting demolished. We got Giancarlo and Donaldson both homering in their return. Donaldson hit 2. We should probably talk about Peraza, but let's start with Severino. He was unbelievable his first 2 starts. He got shellacked tonight. 6 runs in the first inning. Stuff looked like garbage to me. Fastball was down 2.5 miles an hour. What were your takeaways from Sevy tonight?
Yeah, just horrible location. I mean, I forgot I think it was he already had gotten beat up to this point, but there was a 2-1 pitch to JD Martinez. That was a fastball right down to Johnson. I think it was like 90, 93, 94. And it was all today about horrible command. He was all over the place. The slider had barely any break on. If it did, it was right back over the middle of the plate. He just he had nothing today. And, you know, it's funny because while we're calling the game, it is happening. The chat is immediately saying, guys, are we expecting an IL stint to come up? And I'm like, with Sevy, I hate saying it, but you never know. You don't know with this guy. And you're right. His first 2 starts, a second start might have been the best Sevy's ever looked.
Yeah.
And then today you're like, whoa. So, I mean, is it just one of those that we, you know, kind of just throw up there and goes, he just didn't have nothing today. They happen.
I mean,
or is it something more?
Stuff is variable. We know that. David Cohn had a good point. You know, Sevy didn't have a normal spring training. Right. You know, he kind of rushed himself back. He wanted to get back on the mound. And there's usually that point right at the end of spring training where you see the starters getting rocked because they say they have dead arm. You know, you throw 3 or 4 starts, and then it's like your arm is like adjusting. It's kind of tired. You just don't have the same kind of stuff. And to me, it was just overall, not just location, it was stuff too. The stuff, the changeup was doing nothing.
Yep.
The slider had no bite. He just didn't have the good zip. So I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope that he's not hurt. You know, I'm just hoping it's that dead arm.
That's all you can do, man, because with him, unfortunately, it's sad to say, but it wouldn't be a shock to anybody. You know, if God forbid that was the case, but he didn't look good at all on the pitching side. I think the bright spot today was Tommy Kahnle's changeup was phenomenal.
Yeah, he
You
looked
know,
good.
and they need him to come out the pen, but you got to have some concern about Luis Severino, especially now when you have the news that Carlos Rodon got through a 20-pitch bullpen session. He was throwing 90, 93. He, you know, was kind of not working at 100%, of course, but now he's going to face live hitters, and it's kind of that path that we're expecting. And for the Yankees to win, I've said it all along, they need those three guys, you know, especially on the pitching side. They need those three horses up top. And today was one of those things with Sevy where you go, you know what, guys, he hasn't pitched a lot, and maybe every now and then you're going to get one of these. And hopefully it is more of a dead arm type thing instead of, maybe something that we're going to see more of. Next outing, if you see 94 again, 93, you probably do have a little bit of concern.
Parkson has had an impressive number of bad takes in the comments already, calling Volpe IKF 2.0, and now saying pull Sevy when it's 4-0 in the first inning. You can't kill your bullpen in the first inning of the first game of the series. You got to let him take one for the team and hope he puts it back together. Volpe did make a nice stop in the first inning tonight. Couldn't get much on the throw. It looked to me like when they showed the replay that he had 4 fingers on the ball. You know, he kind of had like that change-up grip that you see. Sometimes when a guy's trying to rush the throw, they don't get the good 4-seam grip, and he couldn't really get much on it. He short hopped one. Well, not short. He long hopped one to first base late. Or what was that? No. I'm getting my two plays confused. There was a hard hit ground ball that he booted.
Yes. That was later in the game.
I'm so tired. It got called a hit, but I contend that he would tell you that he should have that.
That's no doubt about it. That's an error. And you know, Derek, the more that we see Anthony Volpe, and I'm not on the boat with a lot of people. Oh, send him down. No. The Yankees made this bed. They're gonna have to sleep in it. They got to give the kid a shot. That's it. And I got brought this point up, and you probably remember this. Somebody brought up a great point to me. They go, "Hey, Pete, do you remember when Boone talked to Volpe and they released that video? He said, hey, we need you to continue your development here."
Exactly.
Meaning, guys, you're going to see this a lot. There's going to be a struggle. Anthony Volpe should not be the guy. And look, I said it. He's hitting 190. It's not good. You can say it's not good. That is fine. But he's not the guy that's costing this team all these games when they're not performing. It's got to be the other guys. Now, the one thing I will say, I got to pat me and Derek on the back here. I do think he would be better at second base. And I do think eventually that might be that because he doesn't have the arm for it. And as he gets older, I don't know if that's going to get better. I don't know. But I just feel like, I don't know. I think maybe that is going to be something the Yankees look at in the future.
I want to stir the pot a little bit because I got you brought something up that I had in my notes. I got killed on Twitter for saying this today. If Volpe's still struggling in, let's say, July 10th, a month and some change from now, he's still hitting 190. He's only had 22 games at AAA. Maybe they do send him down. If they do that, do you tell him to learn second base while he's down there and just call it Peraza and then just have Volpe replace Torres whenever he's ready to come up?
Yeah, it's got to be something like that at some point. And again, this is Derek. I'll speak for you here. This is not you giving up on him. This is not you saying that Volpe's gonna be sent down. And I think a lot of times when, especially with Twitter, you put something like that on Twitter, everybody right away is judging. Oh, he wants him sent down. No, not at all. The thing about I actually said this in his last at bat, and a lot of people in here is probably watching the game. I said it. I said, look, Anthony Volpe right now is hitting 190, guys. That's not good. Now, here's the decision the Yankees are going to end up having to make. If we come to July, All-Star break, what if Volpe's hitting 182?
Yeah.
At what point do you look at it and go, is this development or is this detrimental?
Right.
What do you do here? Like, is this hurting? Is his confidence going to run so low that it's like he just feels he can't play here? And what do you do in that situation? And that's going to be a tough call on the New York Yankees. But all along, I mean, you talk to any scan, and forget about talking. You read like Baseball America and a lot of those articles about him. The idea was that he probably is better suited for second base. He got the body for it. He's smaller, good range, not a great arm. And Oswald Peraza is a natural shortstop. It makes all the sense in the world. So we'll see what eventually happens.
And Peraza's been tearing the cover off the ball. He's hitting well over 300. He hit I believe 6 home runs this week in AAA. Yeah. Now, we don't want to, scream from the rooftop that AAA stats mean everything. There is, there's a correlation between guys, to a certain degree, but stats don't always transfer. But I think when you have a top prospect that's really putting up good numbers, that just kind of reinforces how good they are. This guy is not Estevan Florial, who's been around forever.
Correct.
He's been moving up the system pretty quick. He's dominating a level. We know what he is with the glove. My question is this: why do they keep playing him at shortstop unless their thought is eventually he's going to be a shortstop? It's got to be two things. It's got to be either they are keeping him as a backup plan for Volpe in case Volpe doesn't work out, or they're planning to move him, because otherwise you'd be preparing him to play third base
somewhere else,
or to play second base, or even play the outfield, because you need a left fielder right now. The fact that he keeps playing shortstop leads me to believe that they might not be 100% committed to Volpe.
Yeah, and look, it's actually, believe it or not, it's actually a good situation for the Yankees to be in, is that they got a kid in AAA. What if he was sucking right now? What if he was hitting in AAA 190? He's doing everything in his power to get back up here. And the good thing about Peraza is, if the Yankees had to call him up tomorrow all of a sudden to play second base, nobody's like, oh man, we're losing something here. If he had to play third base tomorrow, nobody's sitting there going, at least we know he's going to defend. We know that much.
Right.
And I think you're right in that regard, is that maybe they are holding him there just in case. And maybe even more so, like you said, his best position is as shortstop. Other teams need to see him there. If he is going to be this big trade guy potentially. And, I was thinking about this earlier. The Yankees don't have infielders.
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot, don't we? With DJ LeMahieu looking like an old man this year, I got to see Donaldson do this for at least a month to actually believe he's going to keep it rolling. But the Yankees don't have infield. Third base is going to be open. Yeah. I don't see the Yankees signing Torres to a 6-year, $150 million deal or whatever it might cost them. I don't see that either. So where are these guys coming from? You can't trade Peraza unless you have a really spectacular deal. Other than that, you really can't. So it's going to be extremely interesting to see where all of this goes. And the more I watch Volpe, I just don't see a guy that should be at shortstop. And that's not a knock on him. I don't see it.
I agree with you. I love Volpe as a player, his mentality, his toughness, his attitude, his hustle. I think he's got legit power. I think he's got potential to be a very good hitter. As you mentioned, there's some development that needs to happen. I think he's got to stop stepping in the bucket so much, start thinking more up the middle, right field. And I agree with you 100% at shortstop. As much as I like the quick release, and I think he does make some very heads-up plays, I got to say, he's blown a lot of fucking easy plays. Just look, the development's got to continue. I'm not ready to give up on him yet, but
of course not.
But by this time next month, my leash is going to be a lot shorter for we're starting to get into the second half, starting to think about playoff run. I want the best team on the field. All right, let's talk a little bit about Giancarlo and Josh Donaldson. They were both back tonight. We can mention Canely as well, too. We already mentioned Canely's changeup. Velo wasn't bad. That's a really positive sign because he's fresh. He's going to eat up some innings. Thoughts on Canely, Donaldson, and Giancarlo?
Yeah, they need him, man. They need him. No doubt about it. Canely looked phenomenal. They need that arm in the bullpen. That's one of the things I mentioned that I think the Yankees really got to target, even at the deadline, is find another high leverage relief pitcher. They're going to need him. And Canely's definitely one of those guys. He has ice in his veins. The situation's never going to be too big for him. He could do it. I'm more impressed, believe it or not, with Giancarlo Stanton because his timing looks just about right, and he just got back. Even that first inning, I thought that was a home run. He didn't get enough of it. Then he hit another deep fly ball. Then he homered. So he looked really good today. He looked very, very good today. And Josh Donaldson, he pimped those. He pimped both of those.
I thought they were going to get caught at the warning track. The way he was looking at him, I was like, those are 15 feet short.
The funny thing is, right? When Bad Dog was called, and he goes, this one's popped up. And I'm like, that ball's gone. He thought it was a pop. I'm like, that ball's gone. It's like a 450-foot home run, but No, shitty skunk mullet looked pretty good today.
Yeah, that first one was an absolute nuke. On Stanton, you kind of just take for granted that he's going to go 2 for 20 when he comes back from an injured list stint, So the fact that he's ready is a good sign to me. Yeah, if he can, just adjust right into, playing well. And, before the season, we talked about this. I'm sure you talked to the same people I did, that there was a feeling around the Yankees that Stanton was going to have a monster year, and he was devastated when he got hurt. But the whole thought was, hey, look, this guy's going to have that 45 home run season with the Yankees. Yep. There's still a chance for him to save the season. He missed a month, but he can still hit 30. You hit 25 in the second half, and you're all right.
Well, we talked about it with him, right? He's just so important to that lineup. I mean, instead of Stanton batting behind Rizzo, you were having DJ LeMahieu doing that. And the way he looked, there's no fear. Stanton strikes fear in batters. He could be 0 for 22, and he still strikes fear in a batter because there's that chance that he'll be able to get it and knock the ball out.
Yeah.
And that's just the type of player he is. Man, I love seeing Lou Gehrig right there. Man, look at that guy was built. He was like a tank.
For a 1920s, 30s guy, I mean, he was just
a tank.
Yeah.
Absolute tank, man. No wonder why he was so damn good. But Donaldson, I tip my cap to Josh Donaldson. Even a strikeout he had, it was a bad pitch. It wasn't really a strike. I didn't like the call on him, but Donaldson's looked good. You don't really have much concern about him defending at third. Things are starting to slowly come around for the Yankees. Today kind of sucked. You kind of tossed this one up. The Sevy just didn't have it at all.
Yeah.
He got beat up bad. The Yankees scored 4 runs at least. Not a ton of hits, of course, only 5. Defense needs to be a little more sharp. Again, Volpe's, I know for a fact from calling games, there's 2 plays that I know of that were 100% errors, and they marked them as singles.
Yeah.
That I'm 100% sure of that should have went against them. And maybe it's the old thing that he's carrying it over to the field. Maybe. It's bothering him a bit, and he's carrying it over to the field. So
it's a game of failure, but it's hard to maintain, that focus when, every night you're struggling. And he's probably never struggled this much as in his entire life,
Yeah, and he started to turn it around last year, too, by this time in the minors. That's the other thing that I always like to bring up is, he is another Peraza where they get off the slow starts. But last year, he started to turn it around in mid-May, and he really got hot. So this is carrying, and it is the major leagues, so it's carrying over a little longer, but I hope he gets it, man. I'm a big fan of the kid. I'm a big fan of the whole story. I just, again, will stick to my original thoughts is that I just believe he's a second baseman.
Let's take a look at the box score tonight. Yankees did not have a lot of hits tonight. They had 5 hits. The Dodgers had 13. Obviously, the game was over in the first inning. I feel bad for Pete when he has to call I think about you every time that the other team has a monster first inning. I'm like, man, I would hate to be calling the whole game right now.
Yeah.
At least when they have a bad night, I can wrap up the recap in about 20 minutes. I go a little bit longer if they have a great night and we got a big crowd. But you got to basically call all 27 outs for both teams, no matter what.
It gives me time to talk about like the Twilight Zone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just regular on-topic things.
Yeah. So obviously Torres base hit tonight. Donaldson 2 hits. Stanton a hit. And Severino a hit. Other than that, Yankees did nothing offensively.
Nope.
Severino just clobbered. His ERA took a big hit. I mean, it was 1.59 coming in. It's 5.28 going out. That's a tough night. Canley, we said, looked good. Weber, I like having Weber on the team because he can just kind of eat up these innings.
Yeah, he's one of those mop-up guys. You need him. Back in the day, everybody had a mop-up man.
Brian Bowringer.
Yeah, everybody had a mop-up man, and that kind of gone away a little bit because everybody throws 99 miles an hour. So now you're just filling up a bullpen with guys that throw 100. But a mop-up man is very important. Like, for an example, the guy earlier said, hey, why didn't you take out a Severino? Well, maybe if you had a Matt Crook, you could have considered that. But now Matt Crook is gone. You don't have nobody out there that can eat some innings.
Yeah.
The Yankees needed to get something out of him. So that's not a bad call by Boone. I mean, you got to get something from him.
Yeah, well, this is a tough one. We got Garrett Cole going tomorrow. What do you expect from Garrett Cole? He's been kind of tough lately. I mean, I think he had a pretty bad game.
He needs that bounce back game, man. The homers are back. I think in 20 Don't quote me on this, but I believe in 24 or 27 of his last innings, he's given like 17 runs and 8 home runs.
Yeah, not good.
So yeah, that's not good at all. So we need one of those shove outings from Cole where he just goes out there, maybe gives us a very good 7, maybe even 8, and just absolutely dominates his team. But I tell you what, that's a pretty tough line to navigate. Every now and then one of those guys will get you in this team, but they need a good performance from Severino. Excuse me, from Garrett Cole.
Betts, man, it's hard to believe he's hitting 266. That guy is just an unbelievable. Every time we play him, no matter what team he's playing for,
he kill the Yankees.
Breaks. He's a Yankee killer.
No doubt. And he still is. He's like, we're at the league, but I'll still kill him when I face him.
I know we're getting late, but when you think Yankee killer, like throughout your baseball watching life, like who are the guys that just, like for me, it's Griffey and Chuck Finley. Those are the two guys.
Chuck Finley killed the Yankees. Freaking Carl Crawford used to give the Yankees nightmares too back in the day. They could never get him out.
Kevin Kiermaier still does it. He's a
Kevin Kiermaier. Yep. The Yankees, quite a few of those damn killers. George Steinbrenner, you should just buy him or just make sure we traded for him to get him out of the get him out from facing us.
Guys, we're going to wrap it up. This was a tough one for the Yankees. They play tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon or evening. I don't even know what is this?
I think it's 7.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, I've been up since 6. My brain is mush at this point.
Pride.
Like all I want to do is just go to sleep. So I'll be very thankful when this West Coast trip is over. To me, the West Coast trips are the worst part of the season for me.
Yeah. There's not that many, right? I think after this, they have like one more.
One more. They got to play the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, of Earth, of California. You know what's funny?
Of Ohtani. And...
The Los Angeles means the Angels. So the Angels are called the Angels. That's the
Angels.
What a stupid fucking name. All right, guys, we're going to call it a night. Thanks for joining me tonight, Pete. We'll see you after tomorrow night's game, hopefully with better circumstances. Good night, everybody.
Ball game over.
Most impressive.